Hi, Sandy.
Hi, it's Dave.
Hi, it's Kirk.
Welcome to the A.D.K, a rock and metal channel. So, on today's video, we are going to be looking at one of the big four of Thrash's, probably their biggest song. And today we're doing Megadeth and Holy Wars, The Punishment is Due. Now, there are many songs that you could have picked up from Megadeth. In the Darkest Hour. I mean, there are so many great tracks we could have picked off of theirs, but Holy Wars Punishment is Due is probably one of their most recognisable. And also, we did Metallica's Master of Puppets. So, from a like for like, I guess, comparison as far as speed, structure, complexity. This is complicity. I don't know.
Complicity.
I'm complicit today. Yeah, I thought this was a good one to do. Now we are going to break this down, which means we are going to be stopping, we are going to be pausing, we are going to be skipping ahead sections. A lot of that is down to YouTube and copyright claim infringement, so we have to obviously work around that. But also because we want to break down the sections, we want to know why is this such a good song. Is it because of nostalgia? Was it because it came out at a certain time and everyone just remembers it as such an amazing song from when they grew up with it? Or is it genuinely an amazing track? Let's go check it out.
The song was called Holy Wars.
Yeah, I am just going to say straight off the bat, he was playing it way faster than he does on the album. Even the drum was like, fuck, shit, he came in at the wrong point there and all sorts. It's like catching up speed and going, Dave, you're fucking on fucking shredding, mate. I mean, let's talk about just the intro there. That guitar riff, how it kicks in. Andy, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's unmistakable and very, very memorable, isn't it? I mean, there's sort of two sort of parts, even in the brief few seconds we've seen so far. Yeah, I mean, it's a great song. I mean, I'm not a massive, well, I'm not even a fan of Megadeth really. I've got one or two albums. I haven't got the album this is from, but I know the song very, very well because it's one of them MTV heavy rotations,
Yeah.
and I remember seeing it back in the day. But yeah, it's a great song, and not the most sort of standard of intro, but again, it's few notes, few seconds, and most metal fans will recognize it.
Yeah. Kirk?
What always surprised me about this song, when you look at the tablature for it, he's actually just using the 12-bar blues scales, chromatic, triplet patterns almost, aren't they? But it works so well. It's got a real sharp edge to it, hasn't it? The way he does it, and I can see why he keeps speeding it up. Because if you're in an agitated mood and you've got to play that riff, it's just going to get faster and faster, isn't it? But you're right. I noticed the drummer. What's the lineup we've got here? I think Ellefson's there on bass, but I need to see closer in.
So at this point, this would have been just after
is this
Risk album? Just after Risk, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah. So obviously Marty Friedman's not in it, and
different drummer.
What was the drummer called who died a few years ago? Legend. Menza?
Yeah, Nick Menza.
Nick Menza. Yeah, all right. So it's that 2002 lineup, then, is it?
Somewhere around that, yeah.
Yeah.
I went further back with the live footage because I didn't want, to be honest, I knew where the vocals were gonna, as you get later in life, his vocals get weaker. Yeah. So I thought hopefully at this point the vocals will be slightly better. This was from the live Rude Awakening video.
Oh, I remember buying that, the live album.
Yeah, the thing I remember about this riff is actually I remember looking at the guitar tab, and I could not pick it.
No, I couldn't.
I was like, all I could do was literally just hit one note and just roll my fingers.
Oh no, I was the opposite. I couldn't do that fast enough. Fretting it, I could pick it. I couldn't do that fast enough. That chromatic. It's harder than you think.
I've never attempted
it so easily.
There's your homework after this, Andy.
Learn how to play it. Fucking hell, it's so hard. Anyway, right, let's keep going.
I'll pass.
right just before the vocals kick in. It's amazing. It's like a minute and a half in, or a minute 45 seconds, and no lyrics at that point. Just that's definitely something that's different than a lot of bands would do. Kirk?
Yeah, we mentioned when we were talking about Master of Puppets, did Metallica really come up with the idea of having these iconic, ritualistic riffs and having extended intros? And we agreed, didn't we? Well, Megadeth have been doing it as well from their first album, certainly the first two, and this. Do you know what I love about what do you learn from this in 2023? You don't need to downtune your guitars to be heavy. And listen to the groove that's actually inserted in there. You know, you've got that fast picking, and then it just you get that almost like a refueling, don't you? Where just the 4/4 drums come in. You're in guitar heaven. You're in guitar heaven, and you can hear the bass chugging away as well. So even live, this sounds just as good live as it does on that 1990 legendary record, Rust in Peace.
Andy?
I just want to pick up on something that Kirk just said. Many times you've said that you do not like standard tuning 6-string guitar music
in modern music. Yeah. You just don't hear it, do you? When do you hear that? You know, unless it's some crappy revival garage rock band.
Yeah.
When do you hear standard tuning now in heavy music? So you're right, I am a hypocrite in just the way that I've tried to promote this and said, hey, you don't need to down tune to be heavy.
I mean, it's not usual, as you said, Dave. It's not sort of the standard sort of format of a song. Nearly 2 minutes before the vocals start. I mean, I like that aspect. You know, it's not. There's a lot in that sort of first minute and a half, minute 45. There's solos, there's harmony leads and a few riffs, and it's a great intro to a song. And it reflected that on the running time. I had a quick look at, you know, this video is 7.5 minutes. I guess that's what the song is, pretty much on the recorded version. But it's an element and a feature of many Doom songs, so that's why I like that aspect. You know, you don't need to go straight into the vocals. Build the songs, set your stall out. You know, and they've created a classic.
Yeah, for me, it's a great balance of a thrash track with a groove metal. As you said, that that switch between thrash to groove is just brilliant. It's something that Pantera did very well.
Yeah.
But Megadeth could just show that they can do some groove as well, because they were very much about they're very much about their thrash and their speed sort of stuff, but the groove element was brilliant on this particular track. And they got more into the groove, obviously, with the next one, with Countdown to Extinction. They got even more into some of the groove elements with like things like Full Closure of a Dream. And you can hear it as well on something like, there's almost Doom elements of it in My Darkest Hour. When if you go onto that track, that's a great one for just deep, dark heaviness. So anyway, let's keep doing this one. So you can prove you can still be one of the second greatest thrash metal bands in the world and not be able to sing.
That was poor. I was a little disappointed. You said you picked a sort of early version of this track because they get weaker and weaker as time progresses, but God, they must be terrible. If this is a better example, it's
unfortunately,
not great, Mustaine, that is.
Unfortunately, Dave Mustaine was never the best vocalist. Like him and Axl Rose were kind of. I never liked either of their vocals. Weirdly,
he can sing though, Axl Rose.
Huh?
He can sing though, can he, Axl Rose? He's got that.
And weirdly, Dave Mustaine can sing on the albums for whatever reason. Vocally live, he always struggles. Now I remember seeing him back in 1995. I guess I saw Megadeth, 94, 95 sort of era. And I don't remember him having a problem with the vocals. I don't know if it was as it got later and later. He just sounds very tight, and it's just there's not getting enough air out or whatever it is. But weirdly, a lot of people don't really care. I asked someone about this. I said, "Yeah, but Dave Mustaine's vocals are just not that good." He went, "You don't listen to Megadeth for the vocals. It's all about the guitar. It's the riffs. They are such a riff-heavy band that's what a lot of people listen to Megadeth for. It's not so much about it, which I thought was a really weird thing to say, because the riffs are a part of it, but surely the lyrics and vocal melody is just as important. But
I think I must agree then without knowing it, because out of the big four, Megadeth are the best, in my opinion, or my favorite thrash band out of the legendary Mount Rushmore four. Vocally, they're in my darkest hours. Great vocal performance, because he just did that in one take, didn't he? You know,
Yeah.
he found out that Cliff Burton had died. He wrote the song. I mean, he might be a bit of hyperbole here, him exaggerating that he just picked up his guitar and wrote that, and then you know they then went to the studio when they were ready to do the album, and he carried that through. But yeah, if you were a thrash band and you'd lost your singer, and the person who came to audition took to the microphone and was singing like that, would he get the gig?
no.
No
The thing
chance.
was, he was never meant to be the vocalist, was he?
No.
Because they auditioned multiple vocalists and they just couldn't find one, and in the end he just ended up having to do it, and just took on the role. But that's because he couldn't find. He just was always just going to be the guitarist in the band.
I mean, he's good in, what's that song from Euthanasia? A Tout Le Monde. That was a single, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was good.
Excellent in that. So
it was all very good. I think it's live for whatever reason. And Rude Awakening came out just after Euthanasia, not long after that, I think.
No, I think this is 2002, isn't it? Because it was Cryptic Writings that came out after Euthanasia. That was the 97 album.
No, this is off the live video Rude Awakening.
Yeah, I'm sure this is 2002 though, isn't it? When it came out, I've got that. I bought this. I'm sure I bought it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, it's off. This is actually a live video they put out. This one. So there you go.
No, come on. Before we move on, can I just
Yeah.
sort of touch on the lyrics?
Yeah.
You know, it's just a few lines of the first verse, but the second line is "killing for religion, something I don't understand." I mean, that rings very, very well with me, because, you know, I am an atheist. I don't understand religion. I certainly don't understand killing people in the name of religion. And this is the soundtrack for today's news agenda with what's
It's
going on.
very topical.
I mean, it just baffles me what's going on there. It baffles me whatever influence Dave Mustaine to write this song, but it's historical, isn't it? And I think this is the sort of theme throughout the song. And yeah, that's why it rings so true to me. As I said, I'm not a huge Megadeth fan, but I do like this song for the video, the guitar work, and the lyrics. You know, not necessarily his vocals, but the lyrics are very pertinent.
Yeah, I mean, it's that line "killing for religion" is something I understand. It's weird because me and Anna were talking about it in the car today, and it was like we were talking about obviously the religious elements of obviously the conflict that's going on at the moment, and I was just like, in every single religious text, it's all about brotherhood, and you don't only in the old sort of like in the Christian Bible, it's in the Old Testament, but you don't have this thing about going off and killing other people. I don't understand how a religious society can kill another human being.
The hypocrites.
If you're not religious, fine.
Promote love and you know, love and brother and all equal and all that, but it's your religion is different from mine. I'm gonna bomb the shit out of you.
Yeah,
hypocrites, and it fucking infuriates me. But we'll moving off the topic a bit now. You know, we could be here all night debating that.
We could get into a very deep debate at this point.
Yeah.
Let's get back to some music.
Can I say though, this song does lyrically capture the zeitgeist of 1990, because I think this song came out weeks before the first Gulf War, where Saddam Hussein sends troops into Kuwait, doesn't he? So that ignites a war. The United States come in, they protect Saudi Arabia, they militarily defeat Saddam Hussein and leave him in place. But look what Saddam Hussein did. He was a secular dictator. That Ba'ath Party were a socialist party, weren't they? What does he do, though, as soon as he's under threat? He tries to hide behind, not Arab nationalism, behind Islam, and fires Scud missiles into Israel to try and get them into the conflict to start a holy war, which it didn't ignite, fortunately. That was pure cynicism from Saddam Hussein, who was never really, it wasn't a religious fanatic. Obviously, I think if you are from the Middle East, often you are going to be at least nominally identifying with the Islamic religion. I know that there are pockets of Christians and Jews and various
Yeah.
other religious minorities there. But that one act, lyrically, Dave Mustaine has almost foreshadowed what was going to happen. That was not his intention. So I think listening to this in 2023, it's even more poignant, this song.
Yeah, very true. Let's keep going. I was going to say there was a comment there on the lyrics about Israel and your homeland, but we're not going to get into the detail of that because it's very topical. But I thought we'd better just say something as we had just been talking about holy wars and what's been going on over there. So
Ellison's vocals were terrible there as well, weren't they? Backing vocals.
Yeah.
oh, the backing vocals were flat as anything, slightly off key. So yeah. Right.
Love this part of the song. Okay, there we go. Megadeth, Holy Wars, Punishment is Due. Well, is it me, or did his vocals get better as the song near the end? Or was I just not noticing it anymore?
I think you're right, yeah.
It felt like he was putting more power into it, so he seemed to open up a little bit more vocally, and then it seemed to sound a little bit more closer to what you heard on the album then.
I hope there's better live versions of that song, because it's so memorable and so well known to me, and you just pick out what didn't sound great. The section where the guitarist is trying to replicate the traditional Middle Eastern stringed instrument, that sounded crap. The iconic bit where he's playing the high strings low down, on the fretboard, that is like so unique. I've never heard anything else before, but that sounded crap as well.
Don't hold any punches there.
I'm on a roll. One thing I remember from the video was it the aforementioned Nick Menza. Is that the guy's name, the drummer?
Yeah.
Previous
I
trouble,
remember
yeah.
in the video, shortly after that last section you started, there's a bit where he sort of stands up and smashes the cymbal and grabs it several times. I think that was so memorable as well.
Yeah.
That was missing from it as well. But I'll finish on a positive. What I do remember from this song, the line that Mustaine sings about first mistake, last mistake. I just remember hearing that and thinking, wow, that sounds so threatening, so intimidating to whoever he's directing that to, the people who's killed his wife and his baby, for example.
Yeah.
You know, I assume. But I absolutely love the song, as I say.
So let's throw it back to that rather than the actual video of the live version of it. So about the song itself, is this an iconic greatest track? Does it deserve to be up there as one of the greatest songs of metal of all time? And if so, what is it about it that makes it that? So what are the things that stand out for you? You've already pointed out there that bit there and the song structure. So are they the main elements?
Yeah.
They're the main elephants that do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the sort of the intro that extends longer than most songs with sort of so many elements in there. It's the theme for me, the lyrical theme. You know, the points we've discussed, the power and the aggression of certain elements. You know, the drumming, you know, the intimidation and the threat of the lyrics as well. It creates a story as well. One man's journey who suffered being involved in a holy war, just to sort of put it very simply. But yeah, I think it's certainly the song that encapsulates Megadeth, and it is one of the greatest thrash songs of all time, in my opinion. Okay. From somebody who's not a huge fan of this particular band.
Okay. Kirk?
I will go on better. In my opinion, the greatest thrash metal song of all time. And you've highlighted some of the points there, Andy. Storytelling. What an achievement. We've got a song with 1 minute and 50 seconds of colossal thrash metal riffing. Every verse in that, you can remember the lyrics. When I first heard it, I was like, this is anthemic somehow. There's no orthodox structure to it. But on multiple listens, you can easily pick it apart. Look at that transition where it does that Spanish type guitar solo, doesn't it? To then bring in that next riff. And do you know that next riff where he plays some open strings at the bottom, doesn't he? And he's really hammering down on the low E as well. And it always reminds me, I always think I'm in a desert and I've finally found a well with some water in it. It's almost like a relief. Also in that storytelling, there's multiple perspectives. The first one is third person, isn't it? It's somebody giving a summary of a situation. And then the lyrics take the viewpoint of a protagonist, don't they? For the second part of it. It's like that always fascinated me as well. Really, I think it is. I know it's topical. I think what influenced this song probably was that first Intifada in 1987, which was started by Hamas. We have this uprising against Israeli rule in Gaza and the West Bank. But also, let's not forget, you had the Iraq-Iran war that was really going on in the 80s as well. So the Middle East is a cauldron, isn't it? That's where most of the conflicts are at this time when this song comes out. But again, one more thing. Look at the advanced melody in those guitar solos. Nobody else in thrash is capable of playing those effulgent guitar solos like Marty Friedman. Dave, that first one, the first solo that comes in, it goes, that's adding to the storytelling to me.
It's full melody.
It's incredible. Everything about this song, the drumming, nothing overplayed. I mean, you do hear double kick beats, but they've not gone over the top. And to be fair, no one did in 1990. That was still a new thing. But the bass, you can hear it all throughout, chugging away. I keep using that term. I just love that it's 6 minutes and you want more, and you just never know what's going to come next. Perhaps the only predictable thing about this song is there's going to be some gratuitous guitar shredding towards the end. Probably the only predictable thing in it. But I just love how he's completely avoided verse chorus, and it's still an anthemic song, great story, advanced melody, and some of the most iconic riffs that your brain's ever going to have the pleasure of absorbing.
Okay. So I'll wrap this up then. So when I first heard this song, I hated it. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the album. I thought Rust in Peace was awful. And this is because of when I got into Megadeth. So I got into Megadeth from hearing Symphony of Destruction. and I got the Countdown to Extinction album. And I was at the time when I got into them, I had probably just had Metallica's Black Album, and I was listening to Thunder, Def Leppard, stuff like that. So then to go and put that on, I was like, what the fucking hell is this? Like, I was like, whoa, there's far too much going on here. Don't like it. Piss off. This is annoying the shit out of me. It's just noise. Go away. I'm going to listen to some Symphony of Destruction and For Closure of the Dean. I was like, yeah, that's it. That's what I want for my metal.
Yeah,
So that's why I went down that route. Now, it took me many years for me to go back, and I had to do, and this is what we've talked about historically, about when do you get into an album? When you've got that many albums, at what point do you start at the beginning? Do you start at the end? Do you work backwards? What's the point you should get into them? And it really is depending on what you're listening to at the time. So I did the Countdown to Extinction, Euthanasia, and then after Euthanasia, I had bought all the earlier albums, but just didn't listen to them. The only thing I liked off the earlier ones was Anarchy in the UK and In My Darkest Hour. They were the only two things. Their cover of the Sex Pistols one. Everything else in the albums I didn't really listen to. I just didn't get it, and it took me several years before I was able to appreciate early Megadeth. So now listening back to this sort of stuff, what stands out for me? Yes, you've talked about the storytelling there, but we talked about we did a video, or we filmed a video a bit earlier on about Japanese music and about the fact that it's surprising. You don't know what you're going to get, and that's exactly what you get here. You could never predict what was going to come up on this track. And even now, listening back to it, you listen to it and you go, everything just fits perfectly. It's a perfectly formed puzzle. Every piece is in the right place. There's no wastage. There's no extra bits around the side that you didn't need. It's just been perfectly put together. And no band would write this song now. They would all have some weird vocal melody, or they'd have like a big clean section, and they'd have to have a big breakdown. No one would be able to put a song like this together now, because no one writes music like this way now. It's not that sort of structure. Everyone has to go off in some weird other tangent. So I really appreciate for what they did with music on this particular one. The fact they weren't able to replicate it again is fine with me, because this was a moment in time where they achieved something. If they tried to replicate this again, it would never have worked. So I'm glad they never even tried to do something like this. And it's definitely an anthemic greatest metal track of all time. And of the two, because this is always what people ask about, is which one's better, Holy Wars or Master of Puppets? I'm going to go with Holy Wars. Master of Puppets is better vocally, but musically, I love the vibe of the Holy Wars all the way through. I think there's wastage in Master of Puppets. There is an element of fatigue on that track at points. There are great riffs in Master of Puppets, but you can get a little fatigue from it. This one just doesn't give it that. Everything's perfect on it. So there you go. Megadeth and Holy Wars, The Punishment is Due. Now, if you like this video, please do like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on another video sometime very soon. Take care.